PS Plus has a Halloween surprise in store. And is Xbox still doing hardware? Hello and welcome to Triangle Squared, a PlayStation podcast. I'm your host, Brett Beck, and alongside me, as always, is the one, Mr. Chris Figs. Chris, how are you?
I'm tired, man. It's been a long couple of months at work, so...
Yeah, from everything that you tell me, that definitely sounds right. But you know what might just perk you up a little bit, Chris? Talking today about Silent Hill 2 and what might be happening with its little remake. Maybe a little talk about some other Silent Hill stuff. Xbox maybe bucking the trend with bringing their games over to PlayStation 5. Not entirely, but a little modifier. And speaking of Xbox, just what the fuck has been going on with the news cycle and public opinion surrounding Xbox, which is going to be an interesting thing to get into. So if you've been under a rock and you don't know, buckle up, because in the long run, we've got a lot to talk about there. But you know what we always do? We start the show off in a time-honored tradition of just checking in on what we've been playing so that we can give you guys maybe your next game. And one of the things I think I like so much about this part of the show is that we often are talking about older games. And so it's good. You can think, oh, maybe this is a game I already have, I just haven't gotten around to. Maybe this is something else. And I think that's a cool way to go about it. My list this week is full of a bunch of older games, as well as one that's newer. It's of this year, but it's not necessarily brand new. So, Chris, let's start over with you, because I noticed on the document here, you have nothing new, which sounds to me like you're in your same rotation, sensibly, of a couple of really dense games, one of them being the game that you were trying to play right before I sent the invite to you to do the podcast.
True.
Trails, rather.
Yeah, Trails. I don't know. Honestly, like, most of the week has been spent doing just other stuff.
Yeah.
Been a lot of work, and I've just been working on my own stuff on the side. So it's been a lot of, like, sitting here with something turned on and not really playing it. So, I'm 2 chapters further into Trails. I think I was saying it in the Discord, but I've played through this part of the story already. And so, like, I'm trying to see it again, but, like, I know parts of it. So, like, I get a little disengaged. So it's making, like, going through it again not hard, but just kind of like right now I want to get to the new stuff. And I don't want to skip anything on the first playthrough, because just in case I missed something. So it's one of those where I'm like, Trails, and I think JRPGs in general, but especially this JRPG, it's one of those where it's like you'll get, it's like when I complained about Indiana Jones, it'll do the thing where it finishes a cutscene and then you leave to go to another building so that you can have another cutscene with a different character. And then you leave that building to go across the bridge to get a cutscene for a different character, just so you have to go back to the first building and turn in the quest. And it's like, it's not a bad thing. I like that. And I like it because it's all story stuff, but I've seen it already. So, I'm kind of just waiting to push past that.
Let's be real anyway, because I think you tag on something that a lot of games in general do, but I do seem to notice it more disproportionately in Japanese made games. Mm-hmm. And that is the constant, we're going to give control back to you so you can take 3 steps so another cutscene starts.
Yeah.
And I have to have that thought process of like, did you really need to give me control? If I was going to take a few steps and then you were going to start a new one anyway, couldn't you have just kept the cutscene going and just cut to this new section in this new area? I could have known that I got from A to B just by nature of understanding how storytelling works. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to give me anything to do in that section, how valuable is that space to really be? And of course, I'm open to hearing that there's maybe a really good reason that they do that. Maybe it's something about the way their game handles auto-saving, and so they need that to create a moment to where you can step out of the game, or if you lose power or something, it gives it a great spot to be auto-saved. I really don't know the answer, but I'll tell you, it feels frustrating from a game design perspective as the person playing it, because if you're not breaking away from it, It feels gratuitous. And a game that I adore, Kingdom Hearts 3, did the same thing. And I just always thought, this is really weird. Final Fantasy does it often. Final Fantasy VII Remake did it. It's just like a common problem. And I do wish that they would consider ways to be slightly more engaging with how they approach you doing those things while still keeping the game focused. Mm-hmm. But I think it's this fear of being considered too movie of a game. So they want to give you that little brief moment of control just so you have that almost like the ability to convince yourself that, oh no, I got to play for a sec. I got to play between this cutscene and that cutscene, even though you really didn't. You did nothing of value.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, you were in control. And I feel a little bit like, is this happening so much in gaming because of just game design mentalities that people are in? Or is this a little bit of a, we don't want to get the walking sim thing thrown on us? But if anything, I actually think I want to call them walking sims more if all I'm doing is walking a couple of steps and then a new cutscene's happening.
I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's like with Trails, it's like it's giving you a bunch of information at the start of something, and then you go off, and I'm not, by no means am I saying there's not more cutscenes, but like by the time you get through the like 4 or 5 cutscenes, it's like an hour or two of uninterrupted gameplay for the most part. But again, I think that's the thing with Trails, and I don't disagree with you. Like, that was my biggest complaint in Indiana Jones, where it's like, okay, why do I have to open the door? You know? And it's the same thing here, where it's like, why did I have to walk to the bridge? I don't know. So it's like, it's trying to info dump in this one, and it would be okay if I hadn't seen the stuff already, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's like exacerbated by the fact that you felt all this. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing you have to know when you go into Trails, whether you play it or I know there's other people in the Discord who want to play it, which, by the way, play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 first. Don't be stupid. But the thing is, like, Trails is more about the story to me than the gameplay, because it's, you know, if you're getting into Trails, you're getting into like 30 games, you know, if you want to see that whole story. And the Trails first chapter is quite literally the first chapter of that. So it's doing a lot of that legwork. So like, you have to go into it wanting that story, and the gameplay is good. I like the combat and the ATB. I think it's ATB. I'm not really sure, but Sean told me to play Final Fantasy 12 if I liked that. So whatever they call it in that, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Final Fantasy games with ATB. I can't remember if they actually called 12's ATB or not, but it is. You have an action bar that fills up. I mean, it's the same as 7 originally. You have to wait for your action bar to fill for you to do your next action.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's not really like that. It's one of these things where like you fill up your action bar for better combo attacks, right? Like if you have 3, it's like Estelle and Joshua do something, but if you have 5, everyone in the party does a combo attack kind of thing.
So it sounds to me almost like a situation where you have free control of when you attack, but the ATB bar is really more of like a
well, it's turn-based, to be clear.
Oh, it is turn-based? Okay, I got you.
You can decide for it to be turn-based.
But you can decide for it to also be free flow? That's more of a curiosity. And the reason I say that is, who makes this? Is this a Funcom game?
It's Funcom, yeah. Gung Ho, okay. I think, is the developer.
Yeah. Is Funcom the people I'm actually thinking about? Or am I messing up? Hold on.
Falcon.
There we go. Because it's the people who make the Yeast games, or Yeast, whatever, however you actually pronounce that.
They're doing a crossover of the game this year. You know that, right? Did you see that?
That sounds about right. No, I didn't see that. But the Yeast games are really good. But they are almost always real. Like, actually, yeah, even the ones that they're always real-time combat.
Yeah, I mean,
so I didn't know if this one was or not. I could imagine this one being almost like Tales-like, where it's like you're in an enclosure and you can move around that enclosure freely.
Yeah, that's what it is. But like, so you can move within the circle, but like you can move when it's Joshua's turn. You know, you can move when it's Estelle's turn, and then you can use her attacks, but you can still run around the battlefield. But the free flow part is like when you're running through the world and you see an enemy, you can just hit circle and triangle and attack them. But if they knock you down, it goes into turn base and you have a disadvantage, where vice versa, or you can just kill them out in the environment. So So I don't know. Like I said, I like Trails a lot. It's really good. But like right now, again, my focus is just elsewhere. Honestly, like I'm making a lot of progress in other things I'm doing, and I've just been preferring to do that most nights.
Yeah, that's a good thing though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
far from a problem. It does. I think it speaks to a few things, right? Because I think you can look at it and it's like, well, you can choose to perceive it as not enough games are pulling my attention away from the other things, but I think it's just more of it's important to sometimes allow, it's like healthy important to allow yourself to partake in your other interests, whatever they are. And like, maybe they're a little bit more, what do you even call that? Like a passion, I guess, rather than a hobby. Like some of them are more passionful than just a hobby. And I'm passionate about gaming, but we have a question that I think is really interesting that we'll get to in a bit, but about something similar to that. But I think most of us would probably agree that just by the nature of how our lives are, gaming is probably a little bit more on the hobby side than the passion side, even though we are definitely passionate about it. But then there's a different duty to it because you're playing something someone else made. Whereas like I know one of your passions is like writing, which is, I think the reason that is different is it feels more passion driven because it's you creating rather than you partaking in what someone else created, which is both are valid. But I think that creatives tend to have a deeper sense of connection to the thing they're creating than they would to someone else's creation, even though you can definitely have a strong creation or a strong connection to someone else's creation. I mean, clearly we saw that with Expedition 33 this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, like I had told you, but like I'm farther in one of the books I'm writing than I have been in a while because I don't fall off of things, but like I just start something new, and this one I've just kept going, and it's been really, like people who have read it have really enjoyed it. I know that ChatGPT is very much like a make you feel good so you come back, but every time like I go through it and it has good feedback for me, whether that's real or not, it gives me that sense of like, oh, this is actually going pretty well. So makes me want to keep doing it, and getting that feedback from actual human beings with brains is also good. So it's been fun, and I quite frankly, like I enjoy listening to it. Like I was driving around listening to it the other day in the car, and I was like, this is sick.
Yeah, that one's an interesting one because you've always like anytime I'm working on music, you kind of got to do this thing where it's like, okay, I got to really be careful in making sure that I don't just think this is sick because I'm getting to hear something I made. It's like it's a certain mixture, but you've got to be able to go, I do enjoy the thing I create. Well, but then you've also got to be like, okay, but is it reasonable to expect others would enjoy this even as a niche? Because I mean, all things are, that's what I like to say is pretty much all things are a niche. It's just how big is that niche?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is like, I don't know. I guess like, I would obviously love to like this time 2 years, we're talking about how I don't have time for the show because I'm on a book tour, right? That would be sick. But the whole thing for me is like I just like what the story I'm telling, where I'm sure like with you it's like I like the music, and yeah, sure, I hope someone listens to it and people really like it and it does blow up, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I like it even if it's just my family and like you and my friends and people maybe in the show Discord who are interested want to purchase it, but if it's never read by anybody, it's still to me like it's an accomplishment. It's like I
think that there's like small victories, right? Because like even a good example is like the new song we put out, which I haven't written. I haven't written a song or an album or an EP, whatever you want to call it, since probably 2016. That I was actually like, maybe it could work out. I just always approach it from I'm just having fun and I just want to put something out there and I enjoy that. And even if a lot of people don't know it, there's just a sense of legacy that I enjoy about it, where it's just like, but no, I did make something and I put it out there, and it's out there for people to just partake in. Whether they do or don't is kind of less important than just knowing that I did it and I still put it out there for all to see, for all to hear, whatever it be. But I think like in a weird way, I know that it of course feels good when millions of people love your stuff, but when I don't even send the song to you and I just release it and then you send me a message of like, yo, I played the song in the kitchen today, everybody seemed to have a good reaction. It's like, oh, that was cool. That's nice. That was cool because it's not even like I prompted you. It wasn't like I was like, hey man, check this out and show it to anybody. You just took it upon yourself to be like, oh, what does he got?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a different kind of thing. So
yeah,
but you know, one of the weird things with books, it's an interesting thing about the population in general is books are a much bigger time commitment. So it is difficult to get someone to actually read through and thoughtfully critique because it's not 3.5 minutes.
No,
you know, it's not even like a long song is like, 7 minutes. And it's not even that. It's like you're asking someone to chunk a lot of time and effort into it. And that is a hard thing. It's a harder ask, but I think that in the sense that it is a harder ask, when you actually do get real feedback that you can tell is genuine, that must feel crazy because that's a lot of work to be.
It's funny because Sean reads a lot of me. Sean has read almost everything I've written. And I was talking to him about this, and I was like, I feel bad sometimes when I send it to him. It's like now it's like, it's almost 40,000 words of just my word vomit. But he said to me in party, he was like, if I didn't enjoy reading it, I wouldn't read it. So like that was the best feedback of all of it, where he's like, yeah, but I like it enough to continue reading. Like there's problems, but I'm enjoying what you're doing. And that's nice. The best thing about books though, quick before, because this is my plan, so I will know that at least one person that I like has read it, because my whole plan to market it, I'm not going to market it very well. I'm just going to take it, I'm going to buy 100 copies of the book, I'm going to sign it, and I'm going to write a letter to just any famous person who has inspired me in some way. So I'm going to take the book, send a copy to Kojima, send a copy to like Dennis Villeneuve, and I'm just going to be like, I don't want any promotion. You inspired me. Here's a copy of my book. And here's the thing. There's a non-zero chance that Dennis Villeneuve gets bored. He goes, I'm going to make this into a fucking movie. There's a non-zero chance that one person I send it to. Could you imagine if because this is the thing, you would know because I would call you on your cell phone. And I would be like,
that's how I would know. Like something is, Chris is either dead.
I got a letter from Hideo Kojima. He wants me he wants to buy the rights to make a video. I would be like, that would be crazy. And obviously that's not going to happen, but that's my plan.
I like that you said that though, because I love bands. It's not on purpose, but I have a tendency to really enjoy bands that just don't ever make it in any big capacity. Like they make it on a record label, which is making it more than most bands to begin with, you know what I mean? But they never really see any kind of massive success. One of my favorite bands of all time is Hotel Books. And whenever we put out our first EP together as a group of friends in 2016, people I've been making music with forever, and we'd recorded stuff and demoed and stuff, but we never actually put anything out in any real capacity. And so when we did that, I had brought a couple of the CDs and a shirt to South by So What in Dallas, and I was one of our friends who lives around here who I met because of doing the band. He really liked the stuff. I was just bringing him a CD because he was cool about it, and he came to our first show and all that stuff. So I was like, hey man, I got a CD for you. But I ended up running into the Hotel Books guy, and he recognized me from previous shows that we went to. And I was like, look man, I was like, you absolutely don't have to take it, but I was like, here's a copy of the CD. You're a huge inspiration to me. I don't want anything for it. You don't have to do anything. If you ever just get a chance to where you just feel like listening to it, I'd be honored, but you don't have to, and he took it. I was like, that's cool. It's not even, it's exactly it's just nice to know that there's a sense of, oh, if you inspired me, I want to give back to you, even in a way that's it's not intended to be transactional. I'll at least say, it's just, no, truthfully, it would be cool to me to know that you even considered it long enough for me to hand it to you. Yeah, that's enough.
That's what's great about a book, especially the size that I'm planning on writing, is like they're gonna have to hold that thing. Like a book is big enough that like someone's gonna flip through it, assuming it gets to their desk, of course. Like stuff like that probably gets tossed all the time. Yeah. But like it's big enough where they're gonna be like, oh, this is okay, and then they might toss. But then maybe they catch a sentence and they're like, oh, yeah, okay.
I just love the idea of like Cam Smith has no power to do it. And that's how I know that it's just for a completely different reason. I'm not going to suddenly get a record label just because Cam liked my CD because he doesn't have it. So it's like but if I had to think of someone who's most exciting, like considering how inspiring that CD was from that era of me, like the music I was listening to, he was probably like the most influential person to even give it to begin with. So it's that's a cool thing. Sometimes you hear bands talk about like, oh, I love this band from New York that never made it. But that fucking drummer was killer and I loved him. You know, it's like that kind of stuff is cool. I know we've gotten very far off of games. So Chris, let's return back for just a second. Outside of Trails, do you have anything else that you've really given any kind of real time this week, or has it just been focused?
I made a little bit of progress in Cronos, The New Dawn.
I saw you playing it. I didn't know how much. So when we talk a little progress, we're talking like an hour, 2? What?
I mean, I think probably an hour and a half. I'm like out of the beginning area. I've fought some enemies. It's a cool game. I like it. I'm not far enough to like make a ton of value judgments. I think what they're setting up with the story is pretty cool. I like the gunplay so far. It seems hard. There was one enemy. So actually all the enemies, like I didn't kill any of them. I just like shot them and I was like, I don't think I can kill this guy. And I just kept running. So I don't know. I'm hoping it doesn't become a like shoot a guy twice, realize that I'm going to die and then start running for the whole game, because that's not really that fun to me all the time. Sure, unless I'm playing like Resident Evil 2, where like I barely kill anyone in that game now because I just know how to run through the whole game. And that's a different thing. But I'm doing my first playthrough and sprinting past all the enemies so far. I've earned like 6 bullets the whole time I've been playing. It's crazy.
Well, it's funny that you talk about that because Cronos is developed by Bloober, who made Silent Hill 2 Remake, and we of course both very much love Silent Hill 2 Remake.
Absolutely.
And I was excited for Cronos because of their performance with Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I was really curious. And I've not started it yet, but of course I want to soon because I want to see what do they do. Is it more of a thing of a talented group of people working with the right IP and the right game that all they had to do was adapt to some degree?
No, I think this is good.
Yeah, that's good. And I felt like it would be the way they were showing it. It seemed like it. But where I'm specifically going with that is, I think you're talking about exactly what a good survival horror game should be. Definitely one that's a little more focused on the horror element anyway, which is sometimes it's reasonable to avoid fighting. Fighting should never be the main draw, main aspect, or whatever you want to call that, of a survival horror game, in my opinion. I think it should be good for as much as you want to push on combat. And that's why I think certain series do a better job. I think Silent Hill always minimized combat because they were focusing far more on the world and the story and the characters. And Resident Evil, I think it was always taking a backseat to the story and stuff because it was kind of doing the action movie pitch on, it's like, oh, science gone wrong and all these things. And so the story is good in Resident Evil, but it's like summer blockbuster style. And so the combat has always been a little bit better, therefore a little more pushed on than something like Silent Hill. But Silent Hill F come out, and I've had so many people who know I love Silent Hill 2 asking me, friends, family, different people, hey, are you going to play Silent Hill F? And I want to, but then I started looking into it. And the biggest thing that I hear is that after this section with the school in that game, the game just becomes like an action game where the more and more you play, the more it keeps trying to be an action game, but it does not have the mechanical chops to handle how much combat they want to throw at you. And I'm kind of curious, as someone, you love Resident Evil, and I would say Resident Evil is a fairly combat heavy survival horror game in comparison. How do you feel about something like, you played Silent Hill 2, and combat, I think, in Silent Hill 2 Remake is good enough for how often it's clearly needed to interact with. You can play the whole game without interacting with it almost entirely. How do you feel about the idea of something like Silent Hill like that, suddenly throwing a lot of combat in, but still not doing the necessary mechanical work to kind of pull for that? And is that the right call when you're trying to make a horror game anyway?
I guess it depends on how much you appreciate like I guess realism. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. But like
Yeah, what do you mean by it?
part of what I like about Silent Hill 2 is that James kind of sucks at combat, and
Yeah, same.
it's like, why would he be good at combat? He's a dude, you know? And like, arguably, the fact that he can hit anything with a gun is unrealistic, you know? So I guess it depends, like, how you feel about that. Like, there's an obvious case for, like, oh, I want to be able to be, I want to be the best, even if this person shouldn't be. I am, because I am gamer, you know? But I think it depends on the story. I think, you know, Silent Hill 2 is better for the bad combat, you know, and I don't think the combat's bad, but it's not great. You know, there's no kick flipping off of walls like in Resident Evil.
Well, I think the way to say it is it's not tight, right? Like the combat is good.
Well, it
but
sells that
like
you're playing a guy who can't do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of being the dude who's like a trained police officer.
Yeah.
Agent,
which, again, it's his first fucking day. What are we talking about?
Well,
Mary Sue ass character, but whatever. I love Leon.
I am referencing more of 4 than 2, but also in 2 he doesn't backflip, kick off of walls and shit. So I mean, I guess I got to give him credit.
Yeah, but
he got those skills in the interim.
I guess I don't know exactly how long, but doesn't he get his position because of Raccoon City? So he's in his position.
Yeah, I think
barely not a rookie. So he's still a Mary Sue.
I don't want to act as though I'm any kind of authority on Resident Evil lore, but I know most of it, even if on a surface level. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I just, in a weird way, hearing that, it sounds to me like if suddenly Silent Hill 2 was like, no, you can't beat us unless you kill all these people. And they were saying, like, the people that were talking about it were like, it's not even that the combat's necessary, but they throw so much at you that it's actively hard to avoid it.
Mm.
And it becomes like a primary aspect, but the mechanics don't get better to handle the amount of times they throw combat at you and then the density at which they throw people for you to have combat with at you. And so I'm not writing it off entirely. I just think it's a weird call because it's in one way it feels true to Silent Hill in that it still has wonky combat because no Silent Hill game has ever had tight, responsive
nor should it
combat, and I agree, nor should it. I think that there is worse and better forms of showing and I think Silent Hill 2 Remake does a really good job of that. But I just think it's really weird because it's the same thing, right? This is supposed to be like a high school girl in Japan. Why should I expect her to be like slicing through demons and possessed, whatever? But then why would you as the designer throw that much at me to where I can't avoid it? And this is, of course, using secondhand information. This is someone else's experience, somewhat fueling my feelings on how I want to go about playing the game. But it was kind of there to begin with because I remember when they were showing the game, I was like, why does this look like, for lack of a better way to say it, I was like, is it just because of how JRPG looking it is? Like, why does this look like it's trying to be Silent Hill Elden Ring or like Silent Hill Souls-like? And I was like, it's not strong, but I saw it in the trailers. And I was like, are they really going to push on combat? And it seems they did.
I guess to me, like, I don't necessarily want to judge until I play it because what we're not hearing is like if there's a story justification for it, you know.
Everything and again, without someone going into detail, it doesn't sound like there is. But you're right. I don't have that on real, authority.
I guess I imagine, like, without spoilers, but like think of like the hotel room maze. You know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
If you were to play that section as the other character, you would go, oh, this isn't Silent Hill, right? Like, this is something else. Because what I'm saying is you're seeing like a different perspective. And the game tells you that. Like, that's not even me like saying something fantastical. But like, again, the maze version of Silent Hill is a different I'm trying not to spoil too much, but
Yeah.
it's a different thing. So to me, when you tell me, oh, there's too much combat, knowing Silent Hill 2 and like the little bits I know of other stuff, I go, okay, why? Not, yeah, that
which is a
sucks.
good question. Yeah, I mean, it is
Because
a good
like
question. And
with his,
to clarify, I'm not saying it sucks, and I'm not saying
no,
that you're
no,
saying
no,
that I am. But for any
yeah.
listener who may not realize,
We haven't
it's
played it.
more of a I haven't played it, but it's enough of a curiosity to where I'm like, do I want to really go toward that right now?
Yeah.
And I think Cronos might actually be more paced towards the way that I like survival horror to be paced. But I'm curious because, it's kind of like I haven't had as much of a drive to play Resident Evil 8 because even though it looks really good, and I have played a little bit of it in VR, and it's very good in VR, it seems a lot more combat driven than 7, and 7 gets more combat driven in like the last quarter. Thankfully not too bad, but part of what I liked about 7 is it felt paced more like a Silent Hill game actually for the beginning, and that's fine. I'm not as big of a Resident Evil buff as some people are, but that's why I'm saying, like, for knowing my own tendencies, I think Cronos feels more in line with what I'm wanting from a combat experience. Moody, slow, you can avoid some of it, there's resource management, so all that stuff kind of coming into play, but not being overly focused on. I guess of the two, that one seems more exciting to me right now, even though Silent Hill F, there's a big question mark around it, like, what does it do for Silent Hill? What is taking a Silent Hill game out of Silent Hill and like truly far from Silent Hill? Because like you have other games in the Silent Hill franchise where it's like, oh, this is like Silent Hill 4 takes place in a town that's right down the road from Silent Hill. I can't think of the name of it right now. But then you start having sections where you kind of like travel to Silent Hill in these like in between areas. It's a really weird game. I've never beaten it. So yeah, I don't know. This is interesting, but all that to say, I don't know where I stand on playing F anytime soon. I guess I'm a little worried about spending $70 on it, given the information I know so far. But it did review pretty well, in my opinion. So
yeah, I mean, I know people like Gene Park liked it. So either way, it's one of those games. Like, I'm not gonna buy it until it's on sale. So I'll stick with other stuff. But I think it looks fine. Like, it looks cool. I definitely want to play it. But in a twisted world, I'm just gonna wait for the Bloober Team Silent Hill game coming.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Well, Chris, I guess I'll take over and do a quick run through because some of mine are similar as well. I got the Platinum 242 in Sonic Racing, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. And let me tell you, brutal. The last few trophies, brutal. There's one for getting your triple star license, and you just have to literally keep doing like a certain number of content and keep checking your license, and you're just waiting for this. Everything I could tell from all the trophy guys, it's just random as to when it's going to decide to push you over to the percentage point that you need to earn a triple star license. So that was one. I think that was literally the last trophy I got. And some of the other ones, man, like beating all of the ghost times for time attack and stuff. Oh, but also what a fucking platinum, because it's one of those ones that when you earn it, it's kind of like how you probably felt about KCD2, or probably really more in line with how you're going to feel about Balatro, which is where you're just like, I fucking did that. I did that.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. It totally is worth the 5,500 points for the whole game that I got, because holy crap, rough. I got another platinum on Vita because I finally played this game I've had downloaded forever. It's called Tesla Grad, and apparently there's a second one that came out not long ago. It's like a little puzzle game, and it's got a story, and it's like interesting, but it's the kind of story that I almost imagine Cronos is doing, where it's like you're having to do a lot of filling in the gap with what you think you're experiencing. It's giving you information, but there's no voice acting and there's no text. Everything you're experiencing is kind of just happening, and you're seeing characters like pantomime and respond, and you're seeing like visual information on screen, and you're just kind of being like, what do I think that this is trying to tell me? And then like occasionally you'll look at the trophy name and be like, is that trying to tell me something? But from an actual puzzle standpoint, the game was fire. It's really good. And we were talking about what makes a Metroidvania a while back. I think that game is a Metroidvania. I don't know how else you would catalog this, because you can go to a large section of places immediately, but you're going to return when you get certain things down the line to get certain collectibles, which do have a reason. They give you different powers. And then as you get more things, you can kind of keep going throughout this tower. So honestly, from after I platinumed it, I started looking into it because someone said there was a second one. This game is apparently considered like a easier platinum. And that's surprising, because this is not even like one of the fun Ratalaika games where in terms of challenge, there's a couple of like, how the fuck do I do this? And then even after you look up the solution, because like there was one battery I was trying to get early game, maybe like the first third of the game. And I was looking, I was like, I think that I am understanding what I'm needing to do here. I'm not hitting the skill needed to time everything right to do this. And I looked it up and it's 100. I was doing the right thing. I had to wait until I was done with the game and just a lot more familiar with the mechanics to go and do it. And it still took me like 30 tries to get this one move. And I was just like, this is insane, but it was rewarding. So I don't know if people view this as an easy platinum, which clearly it can't be too easy because it's still worth like 2,000 points. Usually easy platinums are like 1,300 total for the list. So it's not that easy, but it is a fun time. One of our listeners and patrons, Stingray X, mentioned that there was a second one and that it was on sale. And Chris, honestly, Chris, I've acted like you a lot these past 2 weeks. I told you I've mainly only been buying stuff when I'm ready to play it, but I see Teslagrad 2 after coming off of Teslagrad 1, and I like the game. So I think 2 has to be fun. It's normally $20, but right now it's $2.99. I'm going to play it. Might as well just buy it while it's $2.99 and 80% off, because when's the next time it'll be 80% off?
I don't know that's acting like me, because I might have bought it for $20.
Oh, yeah. But at the very least, I got the part of you that looks at games that are on sale. I'm like, it's $3.
True. That's true.
So there's that. And then more so, I have played so much in this past 2 weeks. I've played a lot of games.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very interesting. So Teslagrad's number 243, and I am quickly approaching 244. I think I've got 3 trophies left. I have been replaying Sly 3 on Vita to finally close out my second set of the Sly trilogy platinums. So that will be 244 Sly 3. That game's fun. It's clearly the worst of the first 3, but not even because it's bad. It's just like, oh, there's less new ideas here, and they're kind of just playing around with. Well, it's kind of the thing of how do you do something new with a sequel without going too far from what people like about it? That kind of balance. And it's a good game, but it definitely jumps the shark in a few spots where you're like, this is a bit overboard. But I've been having a good time with it. And it's a good port. Sanzaru, the people who did the port for those games to PlayStation 3, handled the port for Vita. And unlike another game that I plan to start soon, because Blake inspired me, the Jack series, Jack trilogy, that port is rough on Vita if you don't have a modded Vita to overclock and use Vita graphics to change the frame rate and change the resolution so that you can get it to actually run like it should. It's a bad port. But Chris, what I have done, I played a hell of a lot of Helldivers 1.
Nice.
It is very fun. It is so weird to me that it's everything Helldivers 2 is. Smaller scale, with a couple of interesting restrictions and changes. So, in Helldivers 2, you have stems. Mm-hmm. Helldivers 1, there are no stems. If you get knocked down, you can like tap X and like crawl away from whatever is trying to kill you. And if you hit it enough, you'll stand back up, and that's how you get up. Or a team member can run up to you and help you up immediately. Or you can get those little drones that Helldivers 2 had that can do shooting and stuff for you. They have one that will just, if you get knocked down, it'll auto pick you up. That way, if you're playing solo, you don't necessarily die. But I was really surprised because I got mechs, and I was like, okay, this is literally how mechs felt in 2. There's a tank, so there's vehicles. Awesome.
Sick.
Yeah, and the biggest change is that in Helldivers 2, you can like mini squad the team of 4 and send out like, hey, y'all go west and do those things. We'll go east and do these and then we'll come back south to evacuate or extract. This game forces all characters that are in the map to stay within the same camera section because of the top-down angling. And part of me is like, it can be frustrating, but for the most part, I actually think it does a lot to aid in the sense of teamwork in the game because you're forced to interact with the people around you. You can't have people join you mid-game, which, by the way, the game still has a very active community. Anytime I'm doing a mission, someone joins me, even if I'm already playing with people. It's like I pretty much always have a full team. That's cool. But people can't do what they do in Helldivers 2 sometimes where they join you and then they just fuck around and don't help at all.
They can't, yeah.
Yeah, they
you're
can't.
all stuck on the same thing.
Like if they do, they have to be making a way more overt decision to fuck around because they can't run off on their own and just make their own little thing. So that's been interesting from an experience, and I'm still very much enjoying it. It is going to be a long platinum, so I will continue to strive and hope that I get it by this year so that I'll have those points toward this year's trophy competition. But stay tuned.
Nice.
So now my last 2 games are the ones I actually have plenty to talk about. The first one I'm going to get out of the way is actually a game I've talked quite a bit about, but I've come back to because of Chris did the honor of sending me his physical copy of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 so that I can one day partake in the majesty.
Please.
But I told him before I did that, I felt like I owed it to Tainted Grail to go back to it now that the update is hit and really see what's going on. And let me tell you, 2 things. I stepped away from Tainted Grail a little too long. It was kind of rough to get back into. Not because of the game, but because, Chris, as you remember, that game is hard, and I never lowered the difficulty.
Oh, God.
So I'm playing the game, and if, as you may recall from the first one, once you go into Act 2, the difficulty spikes considerably. Going into Act 3, I thought maybe you want so much. No. As soon as I go into Act 3, I'm like, okay, I got to fuck with my build and go figure out what I'm going to do because I cannot survive Act 3. The main way I'm trying to get to where the game's telling me to go, there's an enemy that every time I'm getting fucked up. So that was fun because now it became like, okay, we got to go back to the thing, build crafting. How have they changed the game? How are the dungeons? So I went back to Act 2, and guess what? They added more side content to even Act 2. So I did some more side content in Act 2. And now I'm a good way through Act 3. I've been doing a lot of the side content, but also a lot of the main content. And it's all just as cool and interesting. But also, it does what I think Tainted Grail always did best. It makes moments feel epic while actually being incredibly budget friendly for the team developing it because they have a lot of it goes to show you how much cool design set pieces, keeping a camera in one spot in just an area that is conceptually cool and then having something interesting for the characters to talk about can do almost all the heavy lifting for you because 90% of this game's cutscenes and even the conversations you have back and forth are just a static camera on a cool image and you talking back and forth, but the shit that you're talking about is really compelling and they don't have to do a bunch of flashy The Last of Us 2 style animations and all these things to make me go, this shit's crazy. This is cool. The whole fate of this world is on my shoulders. What's going to happen? What do I choose to do? These are fucking giants. They've been sleeping. Why? Let me find out. The game is incredible. And I'm not saying anything to take away from KCD 2. Of course, I haven't played it. But this is currently still one of my favorite games I've played all year because it's not concerned with being perfect in the ways that I feel like AAA games usually are. And that also is an interesting thing about KCD 2. I don't think it cares about being perfect in the way that AAA games often want to be perfect. Nope. And there is so much charm that comes with that when you couple it with interesting writing and interesting questing. So that has been awesome. And I think that you should totally go back to it if you get a chance, because Act 3 fucking rips so far. The map is really cool. Some of the things that are like being introduced from a lore perspective into the bigger game, and consequences around like why things are the way they are and certain choices you can make. Also, dude, Act 3 leans hard into the decisions aren't necessarily like it's not like a dichotomy. It's not one or the other. A lot of the decisions become like, within this decision are multiple decisions. Some of them are 1 or 2 options. Some of them are like 4 or 5 options, and they all have different impacts on the ending. I don't know how big yet, but it's just in the moment. It's cool to know that you have these options about you. So yeah, I'm very curious to see if you go back to it one of these days and if you end up liking it, because I think that game has part of me wants to be like, this is it's so hard in a year where you're playing Expedition 33, because it's also an incredible first game for a studio. But Tainted Grail is a really, really ambitious, way more budgeted first game from a first studio. So that's pretty crazy to see. Before I go into the game that, Chris, you have been asking me to play with you, I do have to go ahead and throw out a new thing. A little tagline. I did renew my old school RuneScape subscription this week.
Oh god!
So I've been playing RuneScape as well. Game's still incredible. I love it, and it is just an adventure game. If you've played MMOs and you think you know what RuneScape is, you don't. If you have any inkling of trying it, you should, because it's so different. And it's been part of the reason it happened is that there's been a thing going on in World of Warcraft where players are just getting frustrated with the way they handle content releases, and they're kind of just continuing to recycle the old thing, but they're not doing anything new with the old thing. All they're doing is, hey, play the original WoW, but now we just keep updating original WoW until it's playing like, now we're getting in the Mist of Pandaria, which is, 10 years after OG WoW. And then they go, oh, you still want to play original? Well, we just do a temporary mode where you can play the original again and be able to restart. So a lot of WoW players, for some reason, decided to try old school RuneScape out. And it's been really interesting watching videos of them being like, this is nothing like what I thought it was. This is nothing like what a normal MMO is. This is a sandbox. This is by no means a game that guides you through anything. It just drops you into a world and doesn't give you a lot of information on what to do or where to go. And it just says, do what the hell you want to do, which is very uncommon in the modern MMO sphere, where something that the people have been saying in the videos that I was like, I agree with that, is like WoW made MMOs become like theme parks, where it's like all the best parts of MMOs that you would see on like a sheet of paper for like to advertise it, just distilled down into this is an MMO, but it gets rid of all the extra stuff that actually builds like community and interesting things. It's weird because you think about stuff that came before it, like Ultima Online and stuff, and it was a lot more like RuneScape, but all the same. Chris, Stardew Valley.
Oof.
Stardew Valley finally came onto my radar because I'm still loving playing my Vita, and it's so great having games to play at like break time and stuff, or just if we go to like visit a family member, I can just carry the Vita around, and if we're all sitting and chilling for a sec, I can whip it out and not feel bad about doing. Definitely a game like Stardew Valley, because there's no like, I don't have to have headphones on or anything. It's a perfect handheld game, honestly. But you were talking about wanting me to play Stardew Valley with you because apparently it's co-opable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a no. It's not a yes right now. No, not on PS5. But what's going on there? Have you played Stardew Valley at all? And I'm assuming the answer is yes. And if so, what is it about the co-op? Like, have you played co-op, or is it more like something you want?
I've never played a co-op. But yeah, I've played Stardew Valley. I think I have like 200 hours in it, so have fun.
Oh, that's wild, because you have the amount of hours that the platinum takes if you just hunker down and do it, apparently.
Didn't try. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't try, but I didn't try very hard.
Yeah, it's like, well, the game, you have to be pushing towards the trophies, and I've not been doing that, because much like, and I'm glad Blake said it, I was already thinking this, but I don't even think you can fool yourself into, I don't think you even get to enjoy Stardew Valley if you immediately hop into it and start following a guide. to try and get the platinum in the shortest time possible. I think you completely miss a lot of what the game is aiming to bring to you.
Well, that's the thing. I think I would be wrong to say you wouldn't need to be going for them. But like, I could imagine people who don't go for trophies like getting a lot of these just because of the way the game sets it up. It's like, you know what you need for the community center. You know how to get there. It's just a matter of when you, the player, do the things you're supposed to do, right? So like, if you followed a guide, you'd know, okay, I need this, this, and this for spring. But if you didn't follow a guide, all that would change is that you would go, oh, I need this, this, and this for next spring.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly the thing I've gotten into, where I'm almost done with spring. And I'm realizing I'm struggling to get items for requests, because now, like, I realized I got a request for cauliflower and I grew some.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I needed it, so I sold it. And I was like, oh man, this game almost kind of pushes you to want to go, it's worth having at least one of almost every item at all times. But that's also, in a way, that's also, I don't want to say antithetical to the game, but the game is going to almost punish you for that, because you're going to have to waste more resources to make more chests, to have more area to hold these things. It requires a lot of forethought, which I think is interesting. And I do want to have a conversation around this, because you've played a lot of it. That's good. I'm curious to see what you think of this, because by no means is this an indictment on the game. I think the game is still very good, and I see why people enjoy it. But I think one of the interesting things is I hear people talk about it in a way that I feel like fits other games that I've heard people talk about, like even Animal Crossing, where people talk about it being like a cozy game. And then people say Stardew Valley is a cozy game. And I don't entirely disagree with that. But one of the things I've thought was really interesting about it, this is not even worried about trophies, not worried about guides. In a way, Stardew Valley is, for it to be a game that people consider to be a cozy game, I'm a little surprised, because this game is this game's very restrictive in specific ways that feel to me like interesting caps to put on stuff for people to consider a cozy game. One of those is the exhaustion meter. I don't mind that it's there, but it feels counterintuitive to a cozy game, because you're going to exhaust yourself if you just try to do everything.
You're not supposed to do everything. That's a bad way to play.
Again, understand, the game is clearly teaching me, but there's the very strict way that it views the day limit and how much time you have to really just go, this is what I'm doing today. Like, and that's kind of weird, because like if you're at least at early game, if you're farming, almost every day consists of you having to wake up and tend to your crops for a bit. But then the rest of your day can kind of become like, I've gotten to where if it's a day where I go outside and it's raining, I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't have to water my crops. I have more time and energy to do something else.
Yes, he's learning to play Stardew Valley. It's beautiful.
But it's still, it's
check
interesting.
The weather every day.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to see how the game does that, because it is like it's not even that it's not cozy. It's just, it's a game that expects a certain level of micromanagement. And that's the thing that surprises me as it being a cozy game to people, because in some ways it is, but I think it's a more demanding cozy game than other games of its ilk, like Animal Crossing, or, you know, even like some of the newer Harvest Moons, which is what this game is. And this game's inspired by OG Harvest Moon. And where I feel like, if I'm remembering, I think Concerned Dave was talking about, you know, whenever he started making it, was like, because Harvest Moon had moved away from a lot of what he liked about it, to become a little more easy for everyone to play. So yeah, I mean, clearly, I know I'm saying a bunch of things with limited experience there, but do you agree with the idea of this being a cozy game?
Yeah, 100%.
That's interesting. I wouldn't say I'm stressed, because I don't think that's the right word, but I'm very aware of the time limits. Like, and that's on everything, right? Like, the deliveries have time limits, most of them. And so you really, it's like, even if it's like, hey, I need this, and it's like, shit, Now I got to go try and fish all day to see if I can get a piece of seaweed to give to this bitch.
Yeah, but
And
I think
there's other benefits to fishing, of course. But go ahead.
but I think part of it is like you're playing the game in a way, I don't know how to say it. You're like kind of min-maxing Stardew Valley in like the wrong way. So you're trying to do everything, but I don't know, the way I always found to min-max was like, okay, on a day it's not raining and I need to do crops, I do them. And then I go straight to bed. And then the next day, oh, it's raining? Cool, I'm mining. Or I'm going to talk to people. Like,
Well, I say that's some of what I'm doing. I mean, I think I'm softening as I'm learning. But the weird thing is I'm doing all this while I get what you're saying. I'm min-maxing on accident. That's not even purposeful. But it's funny because I'm doing it, but I don't know what I'm min-maxing toward because I'm not actually following a god, nor could I. There is no god that exists. This is more of a curiosity. There's no god that exists that is accurate to the Vita version. All gods have been updated to the far, far updated version of Stardew Valley that everything else is running off of.
Yeah.
So there is no way to follow a god for the Vita version because those gods have been updated. Maybe Wayback Machine will have a version. I don't know. It's not worth it. I'm not going to do that anyway. I actually want this game to feel like I felt when playing Rune Factory 4.
Yeah. I can see that. I don't know, man. Stardew Valley is great because I think the reason people think it's cozy is because you're not required to do anything.
That's true. Like it's not like a fail state if you don't get it done.
You go into Stardew Valley and like you can go, all I'm ever going to do is make a nice farm. You don't have to go fish. You don't have to go into the mines. You don't have to deal with the community center. You don't even have to talk to anyone else. But you could make a badass mine or a badass farm. Or you could be like, I'm not going to farm. I'm just going to be a monster slayer and I'm going to do the mines only. Or you can go, I'm not going to farm. I'm going to fish only. Or you can go, I'm not going to farm. I'm going to do livestock only. And then I think that's why it's a cozy game where it's like I can just do anything I want. And I think the thing is, no matter what you do in Stardew Valley, unless you literally stand in your house until your guy collapses, is making progress. Everything you do, it makes you progress.
No, I do love that. I was very... I was surprised at how much of an RPG it feels like at times. And I mean that just in the sense of progression is at the base of everything. So it's like whatever you spend time doing is what you're going to get better at. So if you spent the whole day fishing, whenever you sleep, you're going to get fishing proficiency. I love that because it actually does reinforce. I think my problem is in these types of games, and this is why a game like Tainted Grail is really good for me. And I still clearly like, even in this game, I still like the limitations to it, but I do like to partake in everything. It's kind of like in real life. I like to go, what's this about? Let me see what fishing is. Then I went into the mine for the first time earlier today at almost the end of spring. I've not been to the mine at all. And I was like, let me go see what the mine's about. And let me go see what this little bit of combat's about. So that was interesting. But I like that the game allows that, but at the same time, it means that if you're wanting to get progression in that sense, it actually does make more sense if you really want to get into it. You're more rewarded for sticking with one thing because you're just going to continue to get more proficient at it. And from what I can tell, being more proficient and getting better equipment stuff actually makes it to where you expend less energy doing the things so that you actually have more free time to do the other things, even if it's just finding the love of your life in the town.
I think the problem with even that approach is like, first of all, it's like, I obviously you know this, but like the basic way is like, if you water your plant, if you're focused on the farm and you just decide, well, I'm doing farm, so it's raining, but I'm still going to water my plants, like you're wasting time. So like the thing is like, go do the mines on the rainy days and all your stats will grow kind of together. Like, I don't know.
Well, the game never ends too. So technically I would imagine that you can get to a point where you have a character who's fully proficient in everything.
Sure.
Which is,
I mean, you can get to a point where you never have to like water your crops either. Like that's the thing. Like,
oh, I figured
there's tons of ways to mitigate everything. So it's just a matter of in some ways it's like a roguelite light.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Because you've played so much of it, how do you think co-op will change that experience?
I don't know. I just think it's one of those, like, I think if anything, it'd be like, hey, you want to go focus on mine. So when we go to sleep in our bunk beds, you go do the mines and I do the farm. And then the next time, like, I want to go do it. So I go do the farm, you go do the farm. You know what I'm trying to say? I stumbled a little bit, but
For sure, yeah.
that's just what I'm assuming it is. I have no idea. I've never done it. My guess is that it's like kind of independent, and then but you're both working towards the same goal. That's how I'm looking at it and hoping that's what it is.
I wouldn't, like, whenever I don't feel so inundated with games to play on PS5, I wouldn't mind trying a co-op because I can see it being interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it feeling like Terraria co-op, but of course less focused on being a combat driven experience. Terraria has house building and farming and all those things in it, but it's like those are understated, kind of like combat is mostly understated in this game. From what I can see so far, combat seems like it's there and you can totally dive into it and do it, but it's understated in comparison to a lot of the other games or a lot of the rest of the game, because it's the rest of the things so clearly don't need combat, and combat only needs itself realistically.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting to see. So yeah, maybe we should try and find a time to do that. But also we have hell trying to figure out when to play co-op games together. So I'm down to try it. I'm down to try it with Blake. We can, I mean, I don't know. Can you do 3-player co-op?
You can do 4-player, yeah.
Hell yeah. We should try it.
Hell yeah.
I mean, we could try it soon. Even if it's just we do it every, like, once every weekend.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
I'm down.
Yeah. I mean,
I love
holler at your boy.
Stardew Valley.
Let me know. I'll play it on PlayStation and Vita separately.
Yeah, I wish it was cross-save because that would be convenient.
That would actually be kind of cool, but it's okay because now, I guess in a way, I think what's going to happen, if we're just being honest, Blake has played so much of this game that if we play with Blake, to some degree, we're going to be getting this Blake knowledge coming in on us. And I don't think Blake will be as bad as like Sean. Bless Sean's heart, love him to death. But Sean is like immediately going to tell you the absolute 100 best way to play it. And he's going to question you if he feels like you're wasting time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know that Blake will. I think Blake will be like, oh, just so you know, here's like, and Blake gave me good information, by the way. Hey, check the TV and for free recipes on these days. Totally right. Hadn't played him forever, but he knew the days immediately, Wednesday and Sunday. And he's like, check the cart. I actually don't know what the hell he's talking about. The hidden cart item. Maybe that's not even in my version of the game. Don't know. But that's the kind of stuff I think Blake will bring to the table is these are things to look out for. Still do what you want. And that could be interesting. So, yeah.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, there's almost not even like knowledge to drop. Like, it's just plant crops, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I think that there is a sense of discovery.
Like, there's small knowledge.
I'll
it's
say
like
in this game. Yeah.
you should save as much money in spring so that you can buy as many strawberry seedlings as you can for next spring, because strawberry is one of the more expensive fruits. But like that's you'll figure that out in a season. So it's
Thank
not
you for
hard.
that information.
You're welcome. Save all your money. But that's all. But even then, it's just like, okay, you would have gone to the festival, seen that, and been like, oh, I should probably save a bunch of money for next year so that I can buy this. Like, it's not, it's not crazy.
Yeah, I see. I think it's more of kind of what I'm getting at. When I went into the cave, the mine earlier, I was kind of interested with this, like, oh, this is all it's here? And so I had to start busting rocks up out of curiosity. And then I was like, oh, there's another ladder down. What is this? And then I started busting rocks up. I'm like, oh, fuck, there's another ladder. And I thought that was kind of interesting to kind of play through it and have that sense of exploration. And even in like a spot where like down on the beach, there's a broken bridge. And it was like, you could probably fix this for 300 wood. And I'm like, I want to figure out what's on the other side of this bridge. So I'm going to go cut down a shitload of trees throughout the days. And I want to find out. And then I get over there and I'm just like, for right now, I don't think that I really needed to do this early game necessarily, but it didn't hurt anything. I got a new place to forage some shit. So I don't know. I'm enjoying the game quite a bit. So I can see why people enjoy it a lot. I'm curious to see how long it'll stick with me. But it being a side game on the Vita, I think helps a lot. Because it's like I can just boot it up and do something. I can do it while we're watching TV or whatever. It's kind of like when I was playing Dungeon Hunter Alliance. Like there's more to pay attention to in this than Dungeon Hunter Alliance because there is like dialogue and stuff that you can do, but it's still kind of hands off, like you said. It's just do what you want to do, partake in what you want to partake in, do the Easter egg hunt if you fucking want to. You know, it's that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Do the Easter egg hunt, not if you want to. Do the Easter egg hunt.
I lost to Abigail, but it's okay because Abigail's a mommy, so I'm pretty cool with that.
That's who I married in one of my playthroughs. Abigail and then Haley.
I clicked it and I saw, single? Let's go. Yeah.
If you ever want to know what her favorite gift is, I'll tell you. It's very easy to get.
There we go. That's exactly what I needed to know. She just... Also, the cast of characters is very colorful. And I mean that both figuratively and literally.
Dude, I've never done it, but I know the romance with Shane is crazy.
Oh, man. Is this a Baldur's Gate like thing where all romance options are available regardless? Okay.
I don't think so. I'm almost positive no, but I won't say no for sure, definitive.
Okay. Good to know. That means there's still one update that can happen.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. That's about it for me on the game stuff. But I think we got a good time to slot a question in here. And man, we got some questions today. I think that a perfect one to kind of start off with is something that I mentioned earlier when we were talking about passions and gaming being something that's a passion, but also a hobby. Jehudi MD, longtime listener, longtime patron, he says, if you were skilled enough, would you want to play video games competitively for a living? Chris, you being someone who pretty religiously played Apex, I would almost argue that for a stint of your life, you played Apex as though you were like a streamer or a competitive player. But there's a difference between choosing to play that way because you have the option and being in a career where you're going to play that way if you want to stay in that career. So do you think you'd want to actually be a competitive gamer?
I mean, yeah. You know, I don't even think it doesn't even have anything to do with being a competitive gamer. If my job was playing video games, I'd be okay with whatever I'm doing. Like,
see, now that's where I'm going to have some pushback because I get that on the surface, it seems exciting to have a job where you do video game stuff, right?
Dude.
But competitive gaming, for the most part, and it does depend on what you mean by it, right? I think that there's an argument to be made that competitive gaming can mean speedrunning. But this all kind of goes back to a very similar thing. And that the worry I have here is that while it would be so fun to have a job that's related to gaming, most jobs that are related to gaming require you to become obsessive about a very small number of games. Speedrunners get to where they can professionally speedrun and do that crap because they play Ocarina of Time and Mario 64 hundreds of times a year to try and shave down their time. And when you play Apex or Call of Duty, you're as good as you are and you're as competitive as you are because you are eating, sleeping, and breathing, and maybe sometimes procreating that game. That's your life is just the couple of games that you're interested in. And I think for me, my concern would be that I would get bored and I would grow to resent gaming because of the avenue in which I'm seeing it through. So what you seem to think differently, which you also are far more comfortable playing a game for a long time than I am. We've talked about that last episode.
It just has nothing to do with that. Like for me, like I guess maybe I'm not answering in the spirit of the question, but like if you're telling me, would you want to be a professional video game player or go work 60 hours in a restaurant? I'm going to pick the fucking video games. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to be a professional video game player. Just like I want to be a professional actor and an author because fuck what I do for a living. Like,
oh,
maybe that's
Chris.
not the spirit, but
I
even
think-
like, dude, if you could sit home knowing
Sure.
like, yeah, you're good enough at video games, so like 4 hours a day you're playing Call of Duty, and then you're streaming for the rest of it, and you're making money doing that, and you can sit at home and hang out with your kid and hang out with your wife all the time. Like, that's just objectively, even if you hated playing Call of Duty, you would happily play Call of Duty every day. Like, that's the thing.
I think I'd start. I agree with you that the immediate pull toward it feels strong. And I think it would feel even stronger if I knew it was a legitimate thing and not just a, hey, hypothetically, what do you think you'd do? I think that you're right that I think a lot of people would go into that. I think that my worry is that not long into it, I would actually start to be like, ugh.
Yeah, but I refuse. You can tell me that you would, but I refuse to believe that you would take selling furniture or whatever it is you do. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, selling furniture over playing Call of Duty. Like, I just refuse to.
So actually, to go into that, and I guess it depends on where you are and how you feel about your career.
I'm assuming you're also making a lot of money doing this.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, you know that I do pretty well at my job.
But I'm talking about a lot.
So
more
I would
money.
have to make, well, yeah, but I mean, I would have to at least make what I make now.
I mean,
and that's
about,
a lot to make, actually, you know. I'm by no means rich. I don't want to throw that out there. But what I'm saying is, yeah, but yeah, you're right. If you're making a shit ton of money, well, then things maybe get a little different. But I think even if it was just, you can make a living out of it. Let's just say, let's say you can make $100K a year. That's a lot of money. Right. Mm-hmm. So let's say you can make $100K a year doing this. I still think part of what I like about my actual job, don't get me wrong, I don't wake up every morning going, woo-hoo, can't wait to sell some furniture. But what I do like about it is that every day is different. Every day is a slightly different project with slightly different things. And so I'm not doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm not talking to the same people over and over and over again. And I kind of enjoy that aspect because what I was doing before that, when I was a logistics head, my job was super repetitive. And so I did that for years and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And thankfully, before I even brought that up and really wanted to do anything about that, one of our salesmen who was really respected and helped build the company was retiring and he wanted me to take his place. And so I was like, I'm interested enough to see what that's about. But I think it's the variety of it that helps because I think I grew frustrated with my previous job from it just being repetitive. So I don't know. I think the word here that makes me hesitant is competitively. I think if you were to say, if you were, and of course it's because there's a skill involved with competitively. If you just said, would you like to play video games for a living? The answer is unequivocally yes, 100%. But that's assuming I can actually make money. And at that point, you would have to have something there. I guess it could be, are you personable enough to play video games for a living? Because if I was just streaming throughout the day, playing games. But then again, think about that, Chris. Do you actually want to play games streaming every time that you're playing? Or even like 75% of the time you're playing? Like, don't you ever just like disassociate and just get lost in what you're playing and don't want to have to respond to people? Like, you want to engage with what you're playing?
Yeah, sure. Like, I don't know what answer you want from me. Anything.
I don't want any answer than what you think. I just that's why I think it's I wouldn't say off-putting, but it's like in a weird, I guess it is close enough the right word. I'm skeptical of it because I think at some point the closest thing I can give is we have a couple of cities around us that are pretty fun to go to for like a day trip. Mm-hmm. And I like them. And sometimes people will be like, oh, don't you just wish you could live there? Like there's a city called Hot Springs. It's about 2 hours away. We have some friends that move there. Next time you come down, Chris, if you do come down, I'll take you up there. It's a cool place. Oh, yeah. And I think you'd like it. But I have that feeling sometimes when people are like, wouldn't you like to live there? I'm like, well, it's kind of expensive to live there because it's kind of like a vacation spot. So people bought up a bunch of houses to become Airbnb. So it's expensive. There's less opportunity. It's competitive, all those things. But then I also have this thing where it's like, I think part of the reason I like it is because it's a place I go to shake things up. I don't know if it's as cool when you move there and all of the things that are available there when you're vacationing there or spending a day trip there are suddenly available to you on a daily basis, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I say that as like, I think most people who live in a city have this thing where most people who've lived in a city for a long time, there's so much shit that they don't realize that's available in their city because they're just there existing and living. And someone else who just visits sometimes would be like, dude, did y'all know that you have this and this and this? And you'd be like, shit, I didn't know any of that. I get, oops. That's what it feels like to me is I think gaming is my vacation spot and I love it because it's something I can go to escape. I'm a little worried I might lose that if it were to become my legitimate career.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, sure. I get it. Well, no, I don't. But like, I'm allowing you to say what you want to say.
I'm not trying to convince you either.
No, so. I know. I'm just, to me, it's just like one of those things where it's like objectively doing anything as a job will dilute that thing down, I think, for anyone.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's nature.
But, you know, I think it depends on what's being diluted. And I think I would rather enjoy video games 10% less and do it for a full-time job than want to kill myself for 60 hours a week just to play video games for 2 hours a night. Like, that's just like...
I'm with you, but let me ask you one question to see if I can go down and see if this is... How deep does that belief within you go? So you just mentioned this week, right? And I know that part of the answer is because you have limited time. So you've given your limited time to other things. But you kind of mentioned like this week, you really weren't actively worried about playing games. You were more interested in something else, a different passion, a different hobby, whatever you want to call it. So a week like this, there's no choice for you to choose to do those other things as opposed to playing games because playing games is your source of income. So with that thought process, that still holds for you?
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's a wrong answer. I'm just saying like pushing through with what it is.
The reason that I have to choose one or the other is because I spent 13 hours working before I sat down to write. So how about I spend 8 hours playing Call of Duty slot before I get super into Balatro or even just writing, you know, like,
sure.
There's just, I don't know. I think like, I get the, like it becoming your job, but that's anything, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean,
chefs like cooking before they end up, you know, not wanting to do it anymore. You know, it's a lot of, that's the thing. Like, I love writing and I would probably like it less if I knew that there was someone texting me like, hey, your deadline's in a month. But at the same time,
yeah. I think it's always
at the same time, you're,
right?
Yeah, but you're in a position like, if let's say in 2 years we're having a conversation and I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm playing a lot of video games, but I got to kind of stop because I got to submit chapters to my agent.
Yeah.
Do you think that sounds worse than my KM quit? So I don't know if I can report the podcast and do anything in my life. No.
Yeah.
I'll take being texted for pages or my fucking Kick manager telling me I'm not streaming enough minutes over any of the crap I deal with on a regular day. And maybe that's just because my job is terrible. That's definitely true. But I don't know. I think I would trade all of that and give up some of my enjoyment of some video games to just be my own independent person. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think what it is that if you're making money off of this, you're self-employed.
Right. And that's the thing. You're like, oh, well, what if you had to stream? If I'm making enough money that I could be self-employed, you go, fuck you. I'm going to see Brett and I'll be offline for 3 weeks. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, watch the VODs. Like, you know, you can do shit like that. So
sure. Yeah. All right, man. Well, there you go, Jehudi. There's your answers. Do with them what you will. All right, man. We're gonna get the news, and we're gonna slot in some questions that we still have before we round it out. There's gonna be a couple of like quick fire news in here, just given what they are. First quick fire piece of news is, in case you didn't know, PlayStation announced a Icon Blue Special Edition DualSense wireless controller today, and alongside it, they announced a bunch of other merch products that you can get. Now, here's where this is actually interesting. Outside of just, hey, you have a new controller type. They also announced that they are going to be closing down the PlayStation Gear merch shop that they have. And in the same thing where they show the controller and the other items, they say the other items are going to be at retailers. So it does seem like what is probably happening is that PlayStation is going to start licensing more of their stuff out so that merch can be made without them having to handle it from the business side, and them step away and just let people use their IP by licensing. In a way, I get it, but this seems like such a weird thing to do right after you announce a program where you're going to give people merch for getting certain trophies. Like, you're going to give people the ability to buy merch. It's kind of like we talked about last weekend, where it's like, if anything, this should have been used to like bolster, like the franchise rewards should have been used to bolster merch. And now they're separating it off. But it's interesting all the same. Speaking of controllers, I want to give a little win. Mine are coming in. My plates will be in tomorrow. I found out, Chris, I ordered because I like to put my money where my mouth is. PlayStation by no means just made an incredible custom console, but the custom controller and the custom faceplates for Ghost of Yotei, I did think both of them look nice. They use like etchings into the controller, which is something I've always thought that they should do, and they've only done on a few times. It's normally not the controller. One of the only times where they had like an embossed logo was the PlayStation 4 Pro Last of Us 2 edition that they made, and it was like the fern pattern from Ellie's tattoo on top of the PlayStation, like embossed in, which is a good look. But most of their special editions are just flat printed on, which is, compared to what Xbox is doing, where they're like etching runes and shit and like gouging marks from where like a locust scratched into the controller and then replacing the buttons with themed buttons. Like, dude, Xbox, for all of their downsides and for what we're going to talk about in a bit with what was going on with Xbox and hardware, I think that other companies have done a much better job at this. But PlayStation, both like the controller and the thing, have got like the little icons are embedded in, and you can rub your finger across them. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy them. And I found a video that allows you to, it shows you how to modify the backside of the slim plates so that the top piece fits on the Pro, because the bottom piece fits perfectly, same connectors. The top one moves some connectors around. So I'm just going to modify and update my PlayStation to new plates, since they're fucking sold out and everyone on eBay is trying to sell them for $300. I'm not buying $300 PS5 Pro plates. I bought $60 PS5 Slim plates, and I will make the adjustments myself to make that shit work. So I will report back with how I feel about that. But all the same, PlayStation, you gotta do better. When you know better, you do better. Next piece of news is a leak. So do what you will with it, take it with a grain of salt. But this is a very reliable leaker, according to the ever reliable Bill Coon on Deal Labs. I always hate trying to read that because I don't know how to say it. I'm going to say Deal Labs. Silent Hill 2 remake will join the PlayStation Plus Extra Games catalog starting on Tuesday, October 21st. Now, you may know they didn't announce this as part of PS Plus Extra, but they have been known to add games randomly here and there in the past, and this seems like a big win. They made PS Plus a big part of their recent state of play, and PS Plus has been doing incredibly well for them on terms of making money as a service. So I think that they have plenty of motivation to make sure that they continue to make it look good. And we're reaching, more than halfway through the year. This is a good way to hopefully get subs up and be able to end the, by the time that they get ready in March to do fiscal year, maybe they'll look even stronger. So this is awesome. Chris and I love Silent Hill 2 Remake, as we said. So if this does happen, and it seems really likely, play Silent Hill 2 Remake.
Please do. Game of the Year 2024.
And Chris will tell you, play every ending.
Yep. Even the ones that you don't get trophies for.
Yeah.
Play them all. They're great.
Play them all. So there we go. That's a pretty good one. I think PS Plus this month is honestly pretty good.
Is this the best month of all time? Jesus Christ. Is this the best month of all time?
Maybe, because right now it's Alan Wake 2, which is a fucking banger. Goat Simulator 3, also a banger. It's fun. Yeah. And then Cocoon, which is a really well-received puzzle game. And these are all within about a year. Like, they've been out for about a year. A little bit longer on a couple of them. I think this is a banger month for Extra, where it's a guaranteed monthly thing.
Yeah. I can't imagine this isn't the best month ever.
And if they add Silent Hill 2,
Oh yeah.
I think it's crowned.
Close.
Yeah, I think it's crowned. So we'll see what ends up coming from that. Don't know for sure yet. Speaking of Silent Hill 1 remake, which was announced a while back from Konami and Bloober Team after the successful reception of Silent Hill 2. They announced that it was in development, but now it is in full production. And my thing I like about this is from the moment they announced it to releasing Silent Hill 2 was pretty quick turnaround. And I think one of the great things that Bloober did, one of the things I love so much about remakes, because this was true of Dead Space remake as well. Mm-hmm. Remakes now can be made in the time that new games used to be made. So this is the kind of thing you can expect to be playing within 2 years. So this doesn't feel like too early of an announcement. And I like that because, you know, Silent Hill F got announced and it took 2 years for it to come out, and they had been working on it for quite a while before that. So if you look at how those things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that you're playing soon because they already have everything they need. Like, they're going to adapt it, of course, but they know the story that they're trying to adapt. They're not having to write from scratch and storyboard from scratch and all that. So this is awesome. And Chris, I'm so excited for you to play Silent Hill 1 because depending on what they keep, Silent Hill 1 is still really good. 2 is better, but 1 has got a lot of interesting twists on how they view Silent Hill and what you learn about Silent Hill and the cult. And I have to say, I really, in a world where I don't want to constantly see remakes, I am in the point where I kind of hope that if they're going to do this, they go ahead and remake 3 after 1 because 1 and 3 are connected story-wise.
Yeah, that's why I was glad that because I remember people were talking about, they should do 3. And I was like, from what I know, you have to do 1 first.
Don't do 3 without doing 1, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm excited.
You got it. You got the right information, man. You definitely got the right information. So, all right, let's see what we got coming up next. The next piece of news we have here. Actually, you know what? Let's throw a little question in.
Ask me something.
We got quite a bit of them. Chris, this one's an easy one, to a degree.
Okay.
It's simple at the very least. What's the first game you think you'll be playing in 2026? This comes from our patron Stingray X. 2026.
First new game?
Yeah, first game. Well, no, I don't know if it has to be. He says first game you were playing in 2026.
The Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll get to it before 2026.
Yeah, no.
I'm surprised you didn't say Grand Theft Auto.
In May? You think I'm not going to play video games for 5 months?
You're not going to play any games for 5 months, my guy.
Fuck it. I'm waiting. GTA 6 only.
It's okay. It's like when you put a purity ring on and you wait. It's that idea, Chris. We microscope. We pull it down a little bit. We give you a Rockstar
until GTA 6 comes out.
You're gonna boof some games. You put a Rockstar purity ring on, and then you play no other games so that your gaming palette is perfectly cleansed for Grand Theft Auto 6.
I think what I'll do is I'll get to the end of every game, but I'll never finish. Therefore, I have not sinned in the eyes of Dan Houser.
That's
or I guess
good,
Sam
actually.
is the one who's still there. So
yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm on Chris's boat. This is probably very unlikely to be something that we are doing with new games entirely, though. That might be a little different depending on. When did they change the release date for Mina the Hollower 2? Because it was supposed to come out this month, and then they pushed it back. Did they give a date?
It's the 31st of October.
Oh, so they barely pushed it back. That's not that bad. Yeah, okay.
Halloween.
Interesting. Well, then, yeah, I think on that could have been an interesting, real early one. But without that in mind, let me think through. That might be just a long enough break that I feel comfortable to come into Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. that feels like a good post-holiday game. Little refresh, no, that way, because I tend to find that I play a lot of very story-heavy games throughout the holiday season. I think because I have more time to sit and focus. So I think that's part of what's going on. And there's games that I think are fitting. Like I'll try to play Silent Hill F. If I'm going to play it, I'm going to try and play it this year. Though I didn't play Silent Hill 2 last year, so who the fuck knows? One of the first games I played this year was Silent Hill 2. So do with that what you will. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Sonic. I feel like that's a good answer. And I'll ask you the same question. What is the first game you think you'll be playing? And now if you wanted it to be new games, let us know that too, but I don't have the answer for that. Maybe Marvel Wolverine, probably not, because it's like fall of next year. Hopefully I'll play something before then that's new.
Marathon?
Maybe. I didn't play the beta. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I just signed up for the closed alpha. I won't be able to talk about it on the show.
Oh.
NDA.
Well, as a little stab in there, our other patron, RMGO731, said, and explain why it would be Code Vein 2 after Brett finally plays the first one. You know what? Maybe that's what I'll try and play before the end of the year. My sealed copy of Code Vein. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe that's what I've been missing. I thought the next Souls-like I was going to play was the Lords of the Fallen, but maybe it needs to be Code Vein. Maybe I'm severely missing out, and Code Vein 2 will be killer. So there we have it. Let's move on to the next piece of news for a second. And this is about Forza. A note at the bottom of Xbox Wire, of the Xbox Wire post reads, Forza Horizon 6 will launch first on Xbox consoles and PC in 2026. With the excitement for this franchise on other platforms, Playground Games and Turn 10 Studios are also working together to bring Forza Horizon 6 to PlayStation 5 post-launch. So, this has come to a surprise to some players due to the fact that Microsoft's recent cross-platform policy has put games like Doom: The Dark Ages and The Outer Worlds 2 day and date on PS5 alongside the Xbox brethren. So, why the change? I think this is interesting, but I think one of the interesting things that kind of goes into this is that the two games that are given as examples are games that I think always intended to be on PlayStation originally. Like Outer Worlds 2 would have always come to PlayStation if they hadn't gotten bought, Obsidian, right? Doom would have come to PlayStation had Bethesda not gotten bought. I think one of the things is that I've noticed, and I don't know if this is purposeful. I am actually thinking it's not. I'm thinking this might just be we want Forza Horizon 6 to be a showcase game for Xbox, and it's hard to do that and also make sure that we have the game running like we should on PS5. I think what's also happening though is that Forza is, and so is Gears of War, all these other games, none of those have come day and date yet. Only games from like purchased franchises have ended up coming day and date. Any other ones have always come post-launch, sometime later. So while this seems in contrast to Xbox as an entire brand, I don't think that this feels out of place to what they've actually been doing if you zoom back a little bit. But what do you think, Chris?
I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff happening with Xbox was very quick. So my guess is that Forza Horizon 6 has been almost done for Xbox and PC for years. Not years, obviously, but now they need to turn their attention to making a PlayStation version. And unlike Fable, which was delayed, I imagine they just didn't want to delay Forza. When they re-announce Fable, that'll be on PlayStation. I'd be willing to bet money on it.
I'm curious, yeah. But I kind of the same agreement. I think it's more of a resources thing where it's like they don't have enough resources to make sure the game's in a good playable state. I mean, Indiana Jones didn't come day and date.
Yeah, but I think Indiana Jones was probably one of the last bastions of stuff that was being worked on by PlayStation and was turned exclusive. Do you know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah.
I think it's just that resources.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. Speaking of resources, I think we got to get into, while we're on Xbox, let's go ahead and segue into one of the more awkward topics of the episode. Josh Ayers, long-time listener, long-time patron, he says, thoughts on the Xbox situation. Now, in case for some reason you're not fully up to date or even aware of what we've been talking about, though I think it's pretty hard to not be, for some reason, a wave of rumors hit this week that really just kind of caught fire. And I think it seemed to create new fake rumors in relation to it. And then it just kind of spiraled. And I think that there's a really interesting story here. So to start things off, I've pulled up an article from Insider Gaming, kind of going over what happens. And it says, it has been claimed by a reliable insider that Microsoft is planning some intense changes for the Xbox brand in the coming months. First, it has been suggested that there will be a massive round of layoffs heading into Q1 2026, which is hardly a leap. And then that once the once concrete plans for the next console generation are now, quote, up in the air and might never materialize. The claims go on to suggest that the future of Xbox is in games publishing and not hardware. Thanks, Sega, with the brand focusing on the top performing IPs within its portfolio and no longer worrying about manufacturing traditional consoles. So the person here says, before diving in, it should be stressed that this is a pinch of salt discussion, but the insider was given gas by The Verge's Tom Warren, who we also know to be a reliable person, during the most recent Xbox era podcast, suggesting the source, quote, knows a lot of what goes on internally. So what's kind of going on with all this, I think, is this feels like a kind of running of some of the things that have been happening. We know for a fact that Costco has pulled Xbox from its shelves and they are just getting rid of selling Xbox consoles at Costco. That doesn't have to mean anything, but it's certainly an interesting reality. But because of Xbox's erraticness throughout the past year and the fact that things like this have been happening and they feel very much like, why are they not aiming to change this? And then we have price increase after price increase, and there's some thought process that price increase happened to Game Pass and it happened to the consoles, and it may not be the last price increase for consoles. Now the consoles are considerably more than they were at launch. Xbox has not, whether or not this is true, the feeling has been that Xbox could have taken more of that, of the brunt of pricing on the chin, but that really they're just using tariffs as an excuse to be able to charge more. Don't know. Hard to say. Depends on what you mean, because Ryan McCaffrey of IGN, who's a big Xbox fan, or is known for being one, recently said the same thing. He's like, Xbox is, this generation is just going to be known for greed. And to some degree, I don't think he's entirely wrong. I think the Xbox has made a lot of really interesting choices. And I'm not saying PlayStation hasn't either, but by Xbox making some of these choices, anything that PlayStation is doing in the name of greed is kind of being overshadowed, I feel like. So to kind of reel this in for a second and go off of this, the first important thing to know is that Microsoft have since responded to this wave of rumors, though it's important to note this wave of rumors went widespread with Jez Corden and plenty of people who are big in the Xbox talking space seemingly believing that this was highly possible to be true and just kind of going, yeah, this seems likely. Microsoft have actually come out and said that they still have all of that going. So they say, quote, we are actively investing in our future first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built by Xbox. For more details, the community can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD. And if I remember correctly, that AMD agreement announcement was like less than a year ago. So this would be a pretty big pivot, and they would have to back out of that in order to get away from this. With that came a little bit more information, seemingly, that the reason that the Xbox handheld was scrapped was because AMD wanted Microsoft to agree to 10 million units for them to build custom SoC, to help build custom SoC with Microsoft to power this handheld. And Microsoft, looking at the current gaming PC handheld market, said Steam Deck is the most popular and it's only at 5 million after 3 years. We can't run the risk of saying that this will reach 10 million when the market has never shown that that can happen. So they backed out of that one. Yeah. With that in mind, Chris, I think the most important thing to get away from here is I think there's a little bit of like doomsaying here where people just kind of heard something and just decided to start running off and yelling wolf. But why was everyone so willing to believe that there was indeed a wolf?
Well, I to me, I think it's twofold, right? Where I think people, I think when you have people like Jez Corden, who, by the way, has notoriously been wrong every time about stuff like this, and you have people like that debunking it, and he is someone who is a big enough name where he can kind of, for most people, it's like, oh yeah, he says no, it's no. But I think when you look at the fact that this guy has been right a lot, and then, I'm sure you saw the clip of the Tom Warren on that gaming podcast where they're all making fun of the guy, and then you see their faces just drop when Tom goes, yeah, he's connected. Right? And I think that's the thing, right? Is like people want to dismiss this because I think it sucks, and it doesn't seem like it, it's hard to imagine. But, the biggest thing that I took away from his report or the Reset Air comment was like, he never said it was canceled. He said it was up in the air. So, yeah, Microsoft saying we're still committed is sure, but that doesn't mean it was wrong. I don't know. I think it's whoever wants, whatever you want to see out of this, you're going to see, right? If you're an Xbox, if you're an Xbox fanboy who's on Twitter, like, console warring all day, you're gonna see, oh, it's just a Reddit post. Xbox said this. Xbox said 4 games. All this kind of thing, right? And if you're the opposite end, you're gonna, making memes about the Xbox being dead. So I think it's just whatever you want to see. I think to me, like someone watching it, it's like, this is just kind of what, I've said and you've said on this show before. It seems like, just if you really just think about the business and what's going on, it's like, why would Microsoft make another console?
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's one interesting layer as why I think Microsoft has just been in a weird spot where enough tangential things happened that people see this and they go, okay, yeah, I believe it. One example of that happened right before all this, it's like maybe a week or two old, is what is it? Mike Ibarra, if I remember correct, was like a former head of Xbox somewhere Blizzard in there. And well, before that he was at Xbox, then he was at Blizzard, and now he's somewhere else. But he was recently responding to people's tweets and being like, your console is dead, and basically being like, Xbox's strategy is confused and they don't know what they're doing, and Sony, on the other hand, has had a really good generation by doubling down. And I think that anytime you see that, it's kind of hard not to go, oh, why is he saying that? Why does he think that? He had some power there and he has this opinion. Therefore, my mind is more susceptible to believing that Xbox is not doing well. And like I think you said, depending on who you are, if you're the person who's a diehard Xbox fan, you're going to see this and you're going to say, this is Cope. He's mad because he's not with Xbox anymore. So he's talking shit about him because he was probably fired. Or even though he wasn't fired, he probably got told he had to leave. There's a million things it could have been. It could have been, oh, well, he was at Blizzard because he was trying to get away from Xbox and then Blizzard got bought. So he was mad. You can do whatever. You can go to the flip side of it and go, well, he's 100% right. Sony's the best ever and Xbox fucking sucks. Or you can be the middling person who goes, he makes some good points. Xbox has been confused this generation. PlayStation has doubled down on some pretty good things for them. So I think when you see this, the biggest thing I thought was interesting is that Up in the Air suddenly quickly became, not even from people like Ron McCaffrey being like, maybe hardware is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And like legit, because like immediately became Xbox is backing out of hardware as like, and of course that was a rumor of rumors. And all it was someone taking the Up in the Air comment and just turning it into the most sensationalized version that you can. I don't even know if the Up in the Air matters. I don't even know if it's actually true. There's a million ways in which that can be interpreted. And even the guy who said it, who is connected, as Tom Warren said, maybe there maybe he's not wrong, but maybe the way that what he said was heard. But it's been really interesting to see that people who like Xbox even have just had a confusing week of not knowing what to believe until Xbox comes out and says, right now, this is what we say. But I think it's also that Xbox, and they're not the only, again, but I think that this generation has been a weird one. Xbox has had a lot of doublespeak this generation. And I think a lot of it's for legal purposes because they just can't say too much before they're ready to do certain things. But do you remember we want players to play our games everywhere, but that for some reason just did not include PlayStation for the longest time? And then when pushed on it, he never wanted, Phil Spencer never wanted to specify what he meant by that and why PlayStation wasn't included in a broad statement like that. There's, The Outer Worlds 2 is going to be an exclusive for sure, but then it's not. And regardless of, it's been a long time since Outer Worlds 2 was announced versus when it was re-announced as a physical product that's coming in a few short months. But I think that messes with people's ability to trust what Xbox is saying. And so it leads to this position where, as weird as it is to say, it feels an awful lot like Xbox following Sega's footsteps, which is more ironic because the dude who helped launch the original Xbox helped launch the Dreamcast, which was the machine, or basically he helped launch the Dreamcast and the Saturn, which are like the consoles that killed Sega. So it's like the same people being involved in this thing. And this did well for a while, of course. But it is hard not to see that they're making a lot of the same weird PR steps that Sega did, and they're just not right. And they're almost hard to tell that they're not right whenever you're in it, like Microsoft is, until after the fact. But I am confused. I've struggled on whether to actually sell my Xbox or not. I feel like I should, and I don't feel like there's any real reason to keep it. But I also don't feel like Xbox has flat out 100% committed to telling me our games are going to be playable on PlayStation 5. We're getting there because at least now with Forza Horizon 6, they're saying down the road, yes. And that's okay. Never has to be day and date for me. I don't care that much. I struggle to play the shit on PlayStation that comes out that I want to play day one. I can wait to play the games on Xbox I want to play until they hit PlayStation. So what are my thoughts, Josh? It's bad for Microsoft's PR that a big enough section of the internet was willing to take this and go, yeah, that makes sense.
I just want to read you one thing. This is an article from January 24th, 2001. Sega denies it will drop Dreamcast. A besieged Sega Corp fended off rumors Tuesday that it would cease to manufacture its Dreamcast video game console and start making games for rivals. We totally, utterly confirm our commitment to the Dreamcast technology and platform, says Charles Belfield, the director of marketing for Sega of America in San Francisco. You know what happened a week later?
They announced that they were out of the console business.
That is correct.
Yep. I'm not even 100% saying that that's what's going on here, but it's not unbelievable that it could be. That's the weird part.
Yeah. I think if you read the tea leaves, it seems obvious what's going on. But
so I do want to ask you about one thing in particular here. And this is whenever I was trying to square it up in my mind, this is the thing that actually kept me going. Maybe not. Maybe they're not out yet. And it's because they make most of their money through Game Pass right now, which does mean that their long-term bet on Game Pass has been successful. But this is the interesting thing. Game Pass for PC has not markedly grown. So the bulk of Game Pass people, therefore, have to be on Xbox hardware. And the risk you run by dropping out of hardware while Game Pass is still your primary thing that you're trying to push, and it's your primary thing to bring in money and be profitable, you run the risk of losing them entirely if you do not give them another piece of hardware in which to do the same with next gen. You may not, but it is a risk all the same. If you do not provide hardware and they go to PlayStation, might they just go, well, PS Plus is pretty similar, and I'm already on this console, and I need to pay to play online, I might as well. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that gets iffy, because Game Pass, at least as far as we've seen it, and we've talked back and forth, Chris, will Game Pass ever hit PlayStation? Will PlayStation ever allow it? Will Microsoft ever do it? None of us know the 100% answer, but it doesn't seem immediately obvious that PlayStation is in a rush to get Game Pass on their console. So if you get rid of your hardware, where do your Game Pass subscribers come from? Unless you do the other half of this rumor, which is that they're moving away from hardware and going the Stadia route. Everything is cloud gaming.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't seem ready yet from a mass market, because it's way too reliant on how close you are to data centers. And they don't want to lose people who are currently enjoying Game Pass who aren't close enough to a data center to enjoy gaming through the cloud that way. Or maybe they don't have an internet service provider that has unlimited data options at a reasonable price.
I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take, but I think I'm at the point where I think Xbox would be fine if no one subscribed to Game Pass anymore.
I actually think I agree, but that's because they become that once they go, we're putting our games everywhere. We're putting our games on fucking Switch too when we can.
Yeah, because I think it's very clear that they want to sell copies of the games, right? It's like they know, like, okay, Call of Duty, I guess the report was what? It lost $300 million being on Game Pass or something like that.
Yeah, the what they were able to calculate was somewhere in the ballpark of $300 million by way of it being included on Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you look at that and you go, them straight up saying you're not getting Call of Duty and Game Pass anymore. You know, I think stuff like that tells me that they're like at a point where, you know, this was all cute when Phil Spencer was like hidden in a corner somewhere and no one was paying attention. But now people are paying attention and they're going, this doesn't make any fucking sense. So that's the thing. I think the console is so expensive. I don't even think it's greed. I think it's just we don't want to sell them. We don't care. And we're going to take as much money as we can for people who are going to buy an Xbox. For idiots like me who are going to buy an Xbox to put it in my shelf because I'm like, that's cool. It's a dead console, you know? I'll put it next to my Stadia and my Ouya. Like, I don't know.
Ooh,
that's just my read
dude.
of it. That's my read of the situation. Like, it just seems like they're bowing out, you know? But they're doing it like a baseball player who, you know, is a Hall of Fame level guy, but then hits, you know, less than 194 in his last season because he's over the hill. And that's the thing, you know, it's sad that they're going out like Derek Jeter instead of David Ortiz.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, I'm very curious to see where this goes. Microsoft, to their credit, I actually mean this in it's going to sound backhanded because I guess in a way it's hard for it to not be. Microsoft actually have a really long history of making really good hardware and sometimes really good software ideas that they are too far ahead of the curve on. I feel like most manufacturers have some story of this, but Microsoft has got a lot of it. Zune HD was very forward thinking. It had an OLED screen in 2010, 11, one of those two, before Vita even had one. And Vita was like still unheard of, like, holy shit, OLED on a consumer electronic handheld. And as one thing that people may not realize, because Zune just didn't do that well, Game Pass is literally, there was a thing called Zune Pass back when in 2011, 2010. And you subscribe to it monthly, and you could download as much music as you wanted to from the service. And then at the end of the month, you got to keep 10 songs, even if you stop paying for it.
Wow. Okay.
If anything, it's actually better than Game Pass because you get to hold on to games.
It's a better deal.
Yeah, and don't worry, it was kind of expensive for the time, but if you actually look at what is going on with like Spotify now, it's the same, but kind of better because at the end of it, you're getting to own some stuff. It'd be like if Netflix were like, hey, you paid for a month of Netflix. We'll let you download and keep one season of one show or one episode of one show, whatever it be. It's like you're gonna now own a digital copy of this show. And even if we pull it from our service, you own it forever. Right?
Like
but that's not gonna That's never going to fucking happen.
No, it's not. Never.
But point being is that Zune Pass was the same idea as Game Pass, but actually better and more competitive, and it was ahead of its time. So, in a way, I could imagine Microsoft launching too early into trying to be an entirely cloud-based gaming platform for the Xbox brand, and then their games get distributed to every console that still exists that can play them. But I don't know. That's a ballsy move. It's too ballsy, and there's really not even a chance it will work because there's way too many elements that are outside of their control to make that a smart move at this junction. Maybe 5 more years, maybe 10 more years. But there's just a lot that rides on that for that to become your primary business plan behind being a third-party publisher.
Yeah, man. Let's end the conversation. Gut check. Are they staying in the console game?
Right now, I'm leaning toward yes, but not for long. Well, I see them leaving as quickly as they did, as quickly as Sega did for Dreamcast. If this generation does not notably turn things around for them in whatever metric they're viewing success to be with this new hardware, since we don't know what it is.
I would say no, they're not leaving, but tentatively, because I guess it depends on the spin. Because a PC is an Xbox and a PS5 is an Xbox. So have they ever left the console market?
Yeah, that's going to be the weird part.
Are they the console market?
Uh-huh.
That's the thing that, to me, the most interesting thing about this is, like, right now, Microsoft looks like a failing company because of their console.
Well,
but once they cut that off,
they're fine.
They're the titans of the game industry.
Well, it's like the tendency to focus on the tendency to focus on the negative. So you look and you go, well, they're not doing too hot hardware wise, which is the normal metric. But yeah, as a company, Xbox is doing pretty well as a whole.
Exactly.
But that's because they're putting their games everywhere they can right now, and it's doing well. And it's had a better longevity than PlayStation's games hitting PC and doing well. I am curious to see if, like what we were talking about, will that start to slow? Will the appeal of suddenly playing Halo on PlayStation go away, and then you just go, I never played Halo because I just didn't give a shit about Halo. So even though the excitement of being able to play it would have been there 5 years ago, now all these games have already hit. I don't give a shit that Halo's on there, so it doesn't really sell that much better. I doubt that's really the case. A game like Halo is big enough that I think if you put it everywhere, the game will just do better.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but it's going to be interesting to see. All that said, I would not be surprised if next week Microsoft comes out and says we're bowing out of hardware entirely. We've backed out of our agreement. It's not what I think is going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did.
I don't think they're going to announce it. I think they're just never going to talk about another console.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely, it's an interesting place to be in for a company, and no company likes this type of attention. Even Definitely. If this was their actual plan to do, you don't want it to happen this way, where you don't get to control it. When you lose control of the narrative, you fucked up.
Excuse me. Right, so, absolutely. I mean,
it's unfortunate.
They've been losing control of the narrative for 15 years.
Unfortunately, they have, but that's okay.
Despite what Jez tries to do.
Chris,
Brett.
The episode comes to an end with one last question. And this is the question. Are you ready? B-Raj 88 says, you know what? This feels like, even if it's not from Velvet, this feels like a Velvet's Corner moment. So let's just... Velvet's Corner.
Fucking still doesn't end. God damn it.
In the words of Oliver Sykes, it never ends. B-Raj88, longtime listener, longtime patron. He comes at us with the question. Fuck, marry, kill.
Mm.
Aloy from the Horizon
Okay.
series. Atsu from Ghost of Yote. Abby, Last of Us 2.
I feel like this is kind of easy. Am I crazy?
I'm a little curious.
Go first. You first this time.
All right, look. The interesting thing here is I feel like the most conventionally attractive of them all is Aloy.
Interesting.
But here's one of the interesting things too. I like Asian women.
Okay.
But one more thing. This is important too. One of the biggest problems I constantly have with Fuck, Marry, Kill is that it's almost like it's implying that it will be a sexless marriage.
I
saying?
think it's like a one night stand versus like you get to fuck this person for the rest of your life.
Well, that's the thing then. So
versus
why
you straight up murder another one?
That's fair. You know what then? I got my answer set in stone.
Go for it. What is it?
Okay. I'm going to kill Atsu so she can join the rest of her dead family.
Holy shit. Okay.
Also, I've not played the game, so I have zero connection. If I'm going strictly off of what I've seen, I don't have enough to go off of there. For the one night stand aspect of, you ever have those times where you're like, I just want to be with like a girl who's like 6'5", 6'6", just so I can just know what that's like, Yeah. So for that, I want to fuck Abby.
Okay, interesting.
That way I can be like, what is it like to fuck a girl who could probably bench press me?
Okay.
Also, it's important to say he did know Abby from The Last of Us 2, not Karen Devers Abby from The Last of Us Season 2, because she could not bench press me. And also, she's a bit more of a looker. Anyway, consistent. And this is also from I don't know that I could marry Abby because I think I would get tired of her shit. But
stop bench pressing.
I filed for divorce and you haven't even stopped bench pressing to ask me why.
Owen is dead. Stop talking about it.
Stop telling me to take you from behind so you can pretend I'm Owen.
Okay.
But here's the flip side of that is Aloy being the most conventionally attracted to me. I like gingers quite a bit. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's a redhead girl. So that's a look. Pale skin. Oh, let's go.
You should come meet my bartender. He's great.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. Is he down? Okay.
He's a ginger.
But Aloy's kind of annoying too. She's more endearing at times. I'll give her that. And, but I think if I'm going to be consistently, plowing, I think I want to be consistently plowing the one who I think has the highest chance of being a freak. And let's be real for a second. Aloy was an outcast. I feel like she'd be into some crazy shit just by nature of the way she was brought up. Conversely, I could be wrong, and it could be that what's his name? Rost may have been like the most conservative dude ever, and she may be like the missionary is the only position I know and the only position I do. So it's a risk I'm willing to take. Okay, I know that Abby's also a little freaky.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
But I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could get into bed every night and smell like she's got to smell like fucking roast beef, right?
Beef.
Like she's got to smell like a deli beef sandwich, like you've been cutting meat all day.
So she smells like a freshly opened can of Spam.
A fresh open can of Vienna sausage.
Christ.
You stick your fingers in the gel. The gel from Vienna.
Christ. All right. So I'm going kind of the same as you. I kill Atsu.
Okay. Why?
Fuck
Is
Aloy.
it just because what do you know about
attracted to her.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean that's all I have to go off is the pictures, and like, no, thank you. Fuck Aloy, marry Abby.
Marry Abby. Okay,
Either
now
version.
you gotta explain either version.
Mhm.
Between TV show or game, please don't tell me either version pre time jump, post time jump. I don't think you want to marry a 12-year-old girl. 13?
Yeah,
How
I
old
mean,
is she?
sure. Yeah, of course.
All right, so Chris, I got to
I want
hear
the one
why.
with the muscles.
Fuck Aloy, I get, of course, because that's the continual fucking of Aloy is why I want to marry her.
Fair. Yeah.
Right. And also,
Um,
I don't want to throw out there, I love my wife. I do not only have my wife to fuck her. Just throw that out there. But in this scenario, I don't feel like any of them are marriage material. Actually, Aloy might be the most marriage material of them all.
I don't know, man.
She might have the most of her shit together in compared to all of them. But I got to hear, why are we marrying Abby? What's going on here? Is it like you want to be the little spoon for the rest of your life? Which totally fair answer. Every now and then when I'm in bed and we're, and it's time for bedtime, my wife will big spoon me and I'm like, fuck yeah. And I'm taller than my wife. Being the big spoon's so weird for me. Or being the little spoon's so weird for me because I'm naturally bigger. But there's a sense of comfort that comes from being the little spoon, and Abby could make you feel like the little spoon.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Muscular women are hot. I don't know what to tell you.
There's a point at which muscular women stop being hot. I'm with you in that I agree with you, but have you ever seen the women that are like so ripped that they don't even have boobs? All they have is
but to be clear, like those men are unattractive too. Like I think 100%. Those men look like melted ice cream cones. So do the women. But I don't know, man. I'm down with a taller girl. I'm down with a more jacked girl.
Dude, I'm down with a taller girl myself.
Brother, I'm like,
I know you're an uppies man. Yeah, you're a
hell yeah. I'm good with it. I'm not self-conscious.
Conversely, I'm also down for a short girl. I don't know what it is, but like the extremes opposite from me, I like it. Like if I see a girl that's like 6'7", which is pretty rare, but if I do, I'm like, ooh, okay, because I'm 6'3",
get my harness on,
right? I'm 6'2", 6'3", somewhere in there. So even if I see a girl that's my height, I'm like, But conversely, if I see a girl that's like 5 foot, I'm also like,
yeah.
I mean,
see, I don't know what it is. Like, I would, if you put both of them in front of me, I'm going for the taller girl before I'm going for the shorter girl.
I think I don't do, because I go for them for different reasons. I think the short girl's a power fantasy, and I think, well, maybe it's the same, but maybe it is a power fantasy for the tall girl. It's like you're.
I'm not intimidated by a girl being taller than me, so at that point, it's just a giant hot person versus a small hot person, and I'm down with giant hot person.
Yeah, we see less giant hot persons in media. We don't see none. We see.
We saw what happened with Lady Demise.
That's true.
Or whatever.
Lady D could get the D.
And here's the thing: her daughter's in the thing. Shorter, still hot. Mom's hotter. The math checks out here.
Yeah, arguably her daughters are actually more hot, conventionally attractive, but when you put them beside her height just does something to make you go, no, I want her more still.
Yeah. I've always been like she makes more money. Cool. I'll cook and clean. Like I've always been that guy. So like she could be taller than me. Like I don't care.
By the way, when I say power fantasy for the small girl, I think it was just something fun about the idea of like being able to like pick up a girl and like do whatever. I don't know how to describe that better. It's just like I would know that it's like, oh yes, I have the
it's
the
fun
means
to
in which
spin
to
a person like a DJ, but like the whole
Yeah.
Brother, her legs need to not be able to fit on my race car bed, and like we're good. We're going. We're into it.
Bro, and if she's cool with the race car bed, you got
dude.
You've got the whole package, really.
Because here's the thing. You got to think about it, right? First of all, looking up, great view of the tits. Right? You're seeing under boob all of the time.
All right, but Chris, I do want to throw out an alternative viewpoint here. Looking down at the 5-foot girl, also great boobs. Like, that's a good angle for the boobs. Definitely when you're up where we are, right? You're 6'2", I'm 6'2", 3", somewhere in there. So
no, see, I disagree because here's the thing: we're having a different debate of underboob versus cleavage. Which the only correct answer is underboob because underboob is more rare. It's like a mythic.
I'll give you that. You don't see underboob as often. That's the.
I could go to the bank.
You may have converted
cleavage.
Me. Yeah, you may have converted me.
Right? There's cleavage at church. There is no underboob at church.
I mean, maybe the pastor, depending on how far from their pulpit.
I mean, sure, fair.
If they're really up there,
yeah, I guess.
But they're normally wearing like the little gowns, and the underboob is understated.
Exactly. I need that. I'm looking up, and there's just this hot chick,
sculpted
there,
boob,
just right. The tits got to be like right about here. You know what I mean? When I'm looking up, and I'm like,
the nipple should just about hit my eye.
Right. If I'm going, kissing them both goodnight, perfect.
Like she tucks you in,
brother. If we're standing in line for a movie and she rests her elbow on my head, perfect, incredible stuff.
And that's what Abby is to you.
She's too short.
Know what?
But I mean, she's
canonically.
She's
how
side.
Tall is Abby? I'm gonna say Abby feels like a 6 foot. She's 6'2".
Marry Abby, fuck Aloy, kill Atsu. How tall?
Sorry,
is
Atsu.
Hold on,
let's find out. Canonically, how tall? Thankfully, I only have to change 3 letters. Oh, Aloy's 5'6".
Oh, fuck her. What about Atsu? This is important because a taller Asian.
I only have to. I only have to change 3 letters again. Oh, hold on. This might be too new. Ghost of Yote. She is not specified yet.
Yeah, so then I don't care. It's Abby, Aloy, Atsu.
Interesting. Yeah, sorry.
Can I give
Atsu.
you one?
It'd be interesting if I feel differently after I finally play Yote, but we'll find out what's going on.
Exactly. All right. Fuck, marry, kill. We're going Sunny Funny, Rivet, Carmelita Fox.
Sunny Funny. Oh, Parappa the Rapper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, I mean this 100%. I'm marrying Carmelita.
I mean, I felt like that was obvious, but I couldn't come up with another animal.
First of all, she's a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's a piece. But also,
who's the tallest?
I kind of think I would also. You know what? Hold on. The Rivet's kind of sweet. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like, what do I want in my marriage? Part of me thinks I like the fiery nature of Carmelita, but maybe that's better used in a fuck scenario.
I think
so. And maybe Rivet's actually the better wife material. And then Sunny Funny would just be interesting to kill because that seems ironic. It'd
be interesting to kill. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think I would marry Rivet. I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, dude, don't worry. At some point, me and Carmelita are getting it on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I have no desire to get with Sunny Funny. So she's easily.
Yeah, but she could have I don't know, the vines and the roots,
Oh, the sloppiest
tickle. Oh my God.
With her flat 2D head.
Your dick's covered in pollen.
Bees come and sting it later. Bees!
Not the bees!
Not the bees! Did you say bees?
You know what this office party needs? More bees! God, I love that video. I don't know. The biggest problem with Carmelita Fox, and I can say this because I'm Hispanic, she's Hispanic, and I don't know if I'm down to fuck her or marry her. That's not. I don't need a chancla being thrown at me because I'm going home to my wife, the fucking echidna or whatever.
Well, here's the other thing. I'm kind of into Carmelita being like an authority figure.
Okay, so we're just circling back to tall women, except
sort of. And Carmelita's kind of tall. I mean, she's the tallest of the three.
True. Okay.
But more importantly, can you imagine role playing with Carmelita? She'll put you in real handcuffs, my guy. You're gonna need a safe word and everything.
Oh my god! Safe word is Cooper.
Ringtail.
No, I got tested.
That's a game she likes to play with you.
Good God. Carmelita Fox is a good choice. It's just, again, the Latino thing. It's just it's scary. Make sure to not have any knives around when you have sex with her.
The voice actress for her is like the voice actress for so many fine people, like so many fine characters, and throughout, my life. Just fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, great Aloy. All right, Chris, that was informative.
It was, yeah. Everyone's learned things. Anyone got any 6'5" mommies? Send them my way.
Hey, B-Raj. I hope that answered your question, man. And now I have to ask. You asked the question, you must answer. Who do you fuck, marry, kill? Let us know in the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, throw some information over there. Hit us up. It's linked in the description below, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on podcast services. If you want to join all the people who asked questions here, which you don't have to be a patron to ask questions, but all of the ones who did today were, you can go over to patreon.com/Nartech and consider giving as little as $1 per month to support the show. I like to be upfront with you. I don't have enough time and resources to be able to do much extra content. So this is really just something you do because you love the show and you want to see it supported. Something I do. Most of the things I've ever been a patron to, I don't even watch the extra content. I just do it because I like whatever it is and I want to support it when it's otherwise free, which is cool. So with that being said, the couple of things you do get is if you're in the Discord, you get a cool colored name. That way you can stun on them. That's, as I like to say, nothing like stunning on them in a Discord server. And lastly, at the end of every single episode, you get shouted out for your hard work and your fandom. And we appreciate that very much. So Chris, do we need to handle anything else before we wrap this show up? Are you good?
No, we should be good. Yeah, should be it.
All right. Without further ado, we will shout out every person as a huge thank you. So, first and foremost, our newest patron, FR Damian Quigley, Ryan Goldner, Low Rate Nate, Spencer, Brandon Edwards, Alex, Barry Rogers, Stingray X, Matt Tubbs, Easton328, Bailey Robertson, Mark Schutz, Rude Days 93, Kevin Bacon Bits, Danny Villalobos, Jehudi MD, No Fate, Josh Ayers, Derek Porter, and Sean Santarud. Thanks to each and every one of you. We'll see you next time.
Peace.